What is a watershed? It is an area of land where all the water drains to a common point, like a river, lake, or bay. Think of a watershed like a big bowl. Rain, snow, or any water falling inside that bowl eventually flows to the lowest point. Small tributaries fed from melting snow or groundwater springs run across landscapes, picking up nutrients and particulates as they go. And these smaller creeks eventually feed into larger streams, rivers, and lakes, until they reach their end at the common drainage point. For example, the Tyonek River is a part of the larger watershed. It is fed by various smaller lakes and streams until it reaches its endpoint, draining into Tyonek or Cook Inlet, just north of the village of Tyonek. Watersheds can be small, just a few acres, or massive, covering thousands of square miles. And everything we do in a watershed, from farming to building to even driving, can affect water quality downstream. In Tyonek, the watershed stretches beyond just the boundaries of the village, because, as I mentioned, the watershed is connective in the sense that it links all of the land and water within a specific area. When the TTCD travels to do conservation work in places like Beluga or Skwentna, those adjacent waterways are part of a larger network that has cascading effects back to Tyonek. At the Tyonek Tribal Conservation District, we take care of our watershed in a number of ways. Today, you are going to learn a little bit about how. The first way is through invasive species eradication. Northern pike is a major area of focus for our team. Northern pike were illegally introduced to South Central Alaska by private landowners beginning in the 1950s and have spread to connected lakes and streams. They prey on juvenile salmon and have been linked with decreased salmon population throughout the TTCD area. We know in many freshwater systems that without management intervention, salmon populations will steadily decline from northern pike infested waters. TTCD's Northern Pike program focuses on prevention, early detection, suppression, and eradication whenever possible. Another area of focus of ours is Elodia. Elodia is Alaska's first invasive submersed freshwater aquatic plant. Elodia can have broad ecological and economic consequences, especially where Alaska's salmon resources are concerned. It can reproduce from a single plant fragment, allowing it to disperse quickly when it becomes entangled in float plane rudders, boat propellers, and trailers, making it especially important to clean, drain, and dry your gear after spending time in every water body every time. Elodia was discovered in the TTCD area back in 2014, and in 2018, TTCD formed a multi-stakeholder task force to work collaboratively to contain and eradicate Elodia from the TTCD area. TTCD also works to control harmful and invasive weeds in the district. While you might be wondering, what do weeds have to do with a watershed? Here is what is important to know. Water quality declines when the diversity of species integral to the overall health of the landscape is diminished. Preventing the spread of invasive plants is vital to preserving Alaska's unique ecosystem, and is important in regards to protecting the watershed, because watersheds have many components. The plants and animals, large and small, that inhabit the landscape provide significant ecological services. So, in 2016, TTCD began treatment of terrestrial invasive plant infestations along the western side of the district road system. And since beginning treatment, the size and density of infestations have decreased. The other major way in which TTCD cares for the watershed in Tyonek is through salmon habitat restoration. Since 2012, TTCD has been working toward complete watershed connectivity across the district by removing fish passage barriers along the 260 miles of remote roads. Undersized or poorly installed culverts can cut off access to upstream habitats for aquatic organisms, including all 5 species of Pacific salmon. As of 2024, TTCD has replaced 13 culverts, restoring access to 60.2 stream miles and over 500 lake acres. We also focus on watershed health by gathering watershed data, like stream temperature. This is important because salmon thrive in cold water. In fact, cold water is essential for salmon survival, as spawners and juveniles. So determining which streams have optimal temperatures for salmon is important for prioritizing monitoring locations and considering the need for future protections. On the flip side, it's equally critical to know about streams with temperatures that could kill fish. TTCD's Habitat Monitoring and Restoration team has deployed 21 passive temperature loggers in total to map remote cold water stream inputs vital for salmon spawning and rearing habitat. With temperature monitors now logging across the watershed, the team aims to compare systems across our district and examine how stream water temperatures and cold water inputs interplay with key spawning and rearing habitat. Lastly, and closely connected to our pike eradication work, TTCD currently monitors the salmon population in northern pike-infested waters through juvenile salmonoid minnow trapping, coho salmon spawning ground surveys, and red counts. This data helps us understand salmon red abundance, estimate the breeding salmon population, detect salmon population trends, and ultimately increase habitat protections for salmon by helping us add nominations to specific salmon streams to the Anadromous Waterways Catalog, or AWC, documenting them as salmon streams and adding protections to critical fish habitat. You can learn more about all the work that TTCD does to protect the Tyonek watershed by visiting our brand new website, navigating to the Our District map, and playing around with the features to see where, for example, we are doing pike eradication work, allodia surveys, and invasive terrestrial plant projects. I hope you've learned something about watersheds today and all of the work TTCD is doing to care for the Tyonek watershed. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please stay tuned on our Facebook page for more videos on the Tyonek ecosystem. See you soon!